Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for the Cuckoo's Fiancee, Chapter 69. When we last left our heroes, Nagi went back to the Umino restaurant after taking Ai home, and he ended up telling Yohei that Ai had returned to Japan so that she could marry him, which I think Yohei kind of interpreted as, like, him cheating on Erika with Ai, which led to this big fight. That only stopped when Namie came home and made them kind of stop fighting and talk it all out. She told Nagi to not let anyone else cry, which we'll see how Nagi ends up internalizing that. Nagi kind of ponders how many people are now kind of into him, and then he goes home to Erika, who wants to have a chat. So before I dive in, I just want to say, I might have to, like, have a bit of a break in the middle of the video, due to the fact that we're supposed to have, like, a termite guy coming over. I need to let in. He was supposed to be here an hour ago, so we'll see if he comes up in the next 20 minutes. But, for now, let's dive right on into Chapter 69, multiply that feeling by about 100. And our picture here is another Sachi with Shoba pic. I think it's, like, our third in a row. This time on, like, the school rooftop. A fiancé like this is unforgivable. Awaiting Nagi as he returns home is... And we open back in the Nagi and Erika's house as there's this whack, this kadunk sound effect. As we see Erika's done kind of like comic punch. Much like last chapter, I'm sure people will take that very well. As Nagi kind of rubs his cheek. Huh? What the heck was that for? And Erika sighs, Nagi-kun, you scumbag! Even though you already like Hiro-chan, what's all this business about marrying Ai-chan? So we're seeing like the same kind of misunderstanding that Yohei had last week. Because, like, Nagi has absolutely no say in all this. He has no idea what was going on. And Erika sighs, unbelievable. To think my fiancé would be a lady-killing marriage fraudster. And Nagi's just still kind of like sitting there in shock. Well, don't just sit there. Say something. And Nagi's silent for a minute longer. And apparently, I'm assuming he's just told her everything. Because we cut to Erika. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And Nagi sort of, you know, he's got a bag of ice up to his cheek. And then Nagi kind of tells her, talking with your fist first and foremost. You really are your father's daughter. A real chip off the old block. And Erika tries to apologize. I'll pay damages. I don't have cash today, so do you take credit? It's just not how this is gonna work. You think you can solve everything with money? And he points to this, like, to two, like, buckets of towels, and just tells her, fold. Those towels look dirty, though. I feel like they should go in the laundry first. And she kind of gets to work there. They both do it. They're actually doing it together. And Erika asks, so Ai-chan was your crush? And Nagi responds, yep, back in elementary school. But she moved away, and that was the end of that. And Erika kind of looks at him, still a little confused, and Nagi looks away. What? And Erika is just, wait, so what about now? Do you hate her now? Or do you like both Hiro-chan and Ai-chan at the same time? Does that kind of thing even happen? I mean, there's a large gap of things between hatred and romantic attraction that I feel like Nagi's feelings for Ai are much closer to. But Nagi sort of stares at her and then asks, don't tell me, you've never felt that way about someone? So I don't quite know where that line of questioning is coming from. Is it that, like, Nagi's kind of shocked that she can't see the possibility of liking two people at the same time? And so the only way that could happen is if she's never felt that way about someone. I don't quite follow the train of reasoning there. Anyway, Erika's kind of stunned at the blunt question. What? Of course I have. I like Daddy and Mommy and Sachi-chan too. I'm just okay with you, though. Which is really not the question that he asked, but okay. And Nagi sort of sighs, right. What? You wouldn't understand. After all, you've been on this earth for 17 years, yet you've never experienced love. That's what you think, boy. And then she just throws a towel at him. Bah! And Erika kind of pouts. Well, of course I haven't. I've always gone to a girls' school, and the only boys I've ever talked to are all snooty old men. And then she gets right up in his face. What's it like? Huh? What's it feel like to like somebody? So here's the thing about this chapter I'm not really vibing with, is that I feel like Erika at this point... I mean, I've been under the impression that at this point Erika's at least pretty aware that she has feelings for Nagi. But... And, is not only has them, but is self-aware of that fact. Unless I'm just kind of forgetting something. But here, she doesn't, I'd still argue that she has them. But... she doesn't quite seem self-aware. Right? I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading something. And Nagi just stares at her in shock and just says, "You're just gonna ask me straight up? Me, your fiancé? Oh, come on, tell me." And Nagi sighs and then asks, "What makes you happy?" Happy? And she thinks for a sec. When I eat tasty food, when I find a cute dress, or when I get a ton of likes. And Nagi just tells her our title line, multiply that feeling by about 100. And Erika's kind of shocked and then turns away. That's a really childish comparison. And Nagi snaps, I just put it in a way that you could understand. And Erika's about to say something. But Nagi cuts her off. By the way, Amino-san. And we cut to her, she's rolling up this towel, which is not really how you fold towels. You making udon or something? I'm folding towels, thank you very much. Is that what these rolls are supposed to be? Aren't bath towels supposed to be folded like this? Like in a hotel? You never folded a towel before, have you? And Erika is just all of a sudden, she's had some sudden realization there and says, come with me, I just thought of something. You can't fool me, we still haven't finished folding the towels yet. And all of a sudden they start playing with those little sparkler fireworks, for some reason. As I guess one of them kind of hits Erika slightly. Wait, that's hot! And Nagi tells her, well, they are fireworks. Wow, they're so pretty. Nagi finally kind of gets to the point. So why fireworks? So when Hiro-chan came over, I bought them thinking we could light them together. Nagi, what did you say? And he has this image of him doing this activity with Hiro. Look, Umino-kun. And Nagi gets kind of mad. We could have done this. Why did we end up doing Kokori-san instead? Damn it! And Erika just sort of gets mad at him. You could just invite her over yourself. And then she kind of thinks for a second before saying, but you're a weird one, Nagi-kun. And Nagi turns back, dissing me out of nowhere? Well, between Hiro-chan and Ai-chan, the two of them are totally different types, aren't they? But you've liked both of them. And Nagi sort of is stunned at the sudden, seriousness there. I guess what I liked before and what I like now are different. And Erika presses, more concretely, please and thank you. Kunk. And then he flashes back to both the young Ai and the current Hiro. Ai-chan was my next door neighbor and a dear friend. While Seigo-san and I go to school together and are rivals. Maybe it just kind of seems that, I was the only girl besides Sachi that Nagi knew. So it could just be he was into her as, a child's idea of what attraction is. But Erika kind of has a revelation. That's it. I get it. And Nagi looks at her. Huh? What? That just means you'll fall in love with anyone so long as they talk to you, doesn't it? That's not quite what that's kind of what I was getting at with the eye thing just now. But Nagi retorts, wah, I'm not that easy. And then he stops. No, I can't deny that, but actually, for starters, it's not like you can seriously like somebody if you never talked to them before. Which is a good point there. But it's not quite what she was getting at. He's describing a prerequisite for liking someone. She's describing the only requirement for liking someone. But anyway, Erika sort of takes that in. And then Nagi gets back to his fireworks or whatever. Why am I even having this kind of conversation with a girl, my fiancé, in the first place? But Erika thinks, wait, so that would mean... And then I think she kind of sits with the idea that if Nagi is attracted to, if her own idea is true, what would that mean for her and Erika, and her and Nagi? But not really, that doesn't quite feel like she's listening to what Nagi is saying there. But anyway, Nagi has lit this sort of like, can-looking fireworks thing, and it explodes. Wah! And Nagi's kind of startled, and he, like, walks back into Erika. He looks back, sorry. And then Erika asks in our money shot, does that mean that you might feel the same way about me at some point? There's our important question. I will say, though, this line does kind of feel like she's not really responding to what Nagi said. It feels much more like she's responding to her own question. Not really taking Nagi's idea that, like, talking to someone is a requirement, but it's not really, it's like a prerequisite. Not the sole requirement. Anyway, Nagi blushes, though, because he definitely has some feelings for her. What? That's not totally... And Erika pouts, out of the question, I guess. And we see Sachi listening in from, like, the second floor window. Looks like we've used up all the fireworks. Yeah, I'll leave the cleanup to you, Nagi-kun. Me? Okay, Erika, sure. And then Sachi takes that. Does that mean Nagi could come to feel that way about me, too? No. And then we cut to the bath, as Erika's just sort of, like, lying in the bath. The one you love, huh? So when you're in love, you feel happy. When I finally see my brother again, what the fuck? I wonder how I'll feel. But then she has the image of Nagi's. Multiply that feeling by about 100. And she suddenly has this, like, jolt. Huh? Why him? When I'm having fun with Nagi-kun, does that make me happy? Could I be... I thought she knew that. Maybe I was reading a little bit too much into it. When they say love, just what do they mean? Next time, where is Sachi going all dressed up? Okay, so, if I look at this chapter without my sort of pre-ideas of where these characters are in their development that are apparently wrong, this is a really important chapter, as Erika is kind of starting to realize, wait a second, am I into Nagi? That second to last page, though, got me nervous. That, like, when I finally see my brother again, right after Sachi's little incest shit, I was, like, not on board with that. But then, it's like, she's into Nagi, and she's kind of is having to deal with that. That acknowledgement. And I could have sworn, though, I mean, like, she seemed to be... Because there's the not yet line. I don't feel that way about you not yet, in, like, the 30s, I think. Right? Am I remembering that right? So, like, I thought that by then... Well, by then that she knew what liking someone was. And then I figured that there was a certain point I was like, oh, she's reached that yet. I forget when I thought that. And maybe she has. I think she has, given by the last scene here. But I thought she was aware of that fact. Whereas here, I think she's only now kind of realizing it. Still, it's a nice enough chapter. We do kind of, like, I feel like there's a bit of ammunition here for, like, anti-Erika people. That bit on page 15 where she just kind of ignores Nagi's, counter to her you'll fall in love with anyone so long as they talk to you. It's very, like, kind of self-focused there, I admit. But I do think, like, I would argue that Erika is not particularly mature, and that it's more of a very human kind of character failing than any proof that she's this awful person. I'm still kind of thinking about the person who asked if I thought that Erika was gaslighting Nagi, which is utterly ridiculous, for reasons I explained in either my last video or the one before. But yeah, all in all, it's a fine chapter. Again, I'd be more fine if I think I'd like it more if I did not already think Erika was at this point, is it not all of a sudden I'm having to like readjust my view of Erika's development? That she's not self-aware of her attraction to Nagi, or that she hasn't been self-aware of her attraction to Nagi yet. Which I don't think anything she does could not be written off as a more subconscious attraction, that she doesn't yet know that she's into him. But it is a bit of a readjustment. But yeah, all in all, we do see a bit of the Umino in Erika at the beginning, as she kind of, does the exact same thing Yohei did to Nagi with the kind of punch. Which, like, my thoughts on that are kind of the same thing as the Yohei scene from last chapter, and that that felt like a shonen battle parody. This just feels a little bit more like classically tsundere. Except it's not as like comic. It's not she sends him like flying with an uppercut or something. Which like I kind of said last time, the realism makes it more uncomfortable, I think. Like if it were this comic, when Namie showed up last week and Yohei and Nagi had like the cartoon bumps on their head, that felt more comic than the kind of realistic bruises in their fight, which are interestingly gone this chapter, despite the fact that it's the same night. So yeah, all in all, it's an important like NagiEri development chapter, as Erika's starting to realize that her feelings for Nagi are not just, as she kind of says in the middle of the chapter, where is it? Where's the like sort of okay with you? Yeah, I'm just okay with you on page 7, but perhaps is something more, which is a pretty important step. So yeah, next time it looks to be some kind of a Sachi chapter. Hopefully not a Nagi Sachi chapter, but we'll see. We'll see all about that next week. So I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope y'all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or do whatever makes you happy, and as always, people, your life is your own, okay? Bye!